This is the Armory's downstairs museum room. We have a Marine uniform, belonged to Colonel Anthony Lamani. The statue is bronze. It's by Emile Louis Picot. It's original to the Armory. We don't really know where they got it, but it's been here since 1901. This is our World War II exhibit, except for the flags. The flags here, if you can see them, let me look in here. They are 38-star, 45, and 46-star flags. What you see here in the front is an inflated life belt used in World War II. And if we look up on the top, we have a picture of it here being used on D-Day. And yes, there was a tank in the basement of the Armory. They had a whole vehicle storage area there, a motor pool. This is World War II. You'll see different things. Sorry about the lights. Notice the I surrender, those were dropped from planes. It's Carlton Wheel. He was killed in World War II learning to fly bombers, the B-17. And that's the Western Union telegram his mom got when he was killed. You'll notice that we have Westerly Sons, the Japs surrender. And next, and now you see the German and Nazi swastika, the Germans surrender for 1945. The font on that sun is incredible for the vintage of it. We have some German items here that were given to us, including a picture of Hitler and his mother and someone we don't know. It's not his father. As we come around here, we go into Civil War corner. This is a Confederate reenactor's uniform, and this is the Union reenactor's uniform. The weapon is correct. It is an official Civil War weapon. We have a case full of Civil War items, including one thing that's particularly interesting here. It's from Westerly. They were trying to raise troops for the Civil War, and this particular poster is from 1861. We have a horse hobbler in there, that thing that looks like a jack. They would throw it behind them if they were on horseback to stifle the horses of the enemy. And you can even see Mr. Barber, who was a recipient of the Medal of Honor in the Civil War. He's buried in Riverbend Cemetery in Westerly. The flag here is an official Confederate flag from the Civil War. It is wool. We have the Civil War generals, the North, the Union on the top, and the Confederates, the South, below. This particular newspaper, the New York Herald, is from 1865, April 18th. Here's the headline, Important Assassination of President Lincoln. Below here, this chest, if I can get back to show you, belonged to the fellow in the picture there, Abraham Hunbury. Everything in the chest outside of the newspaper, it belonged to him. He had swords, Major General swords, as you can see, and we have the scabbard. We have his epaulets over here on the left. And on the right, we have his hammer and his branding iron, and he branded his hammer. And perhaps you can see, it says A.H. Berry. The book in the middle is an unabridged dictionary. He was a poet. This is going to be hard to see, so I'm going to skip over that for now. We have all sorts of posters up here. mostly from World War II. This is Al Almeida. He represents the Civil Air Patrol. We have his bio here next to him. And Al serves on the Armory board. This is a music box, and it takes a penny to play it, and it's from about 1880, and it was in a penny arcade originally. Come into more air here. This is Colonel Delvey. The jacket and the uniform were his when he was younger. He was a little slimmer, and you see it there. He did Army aviation. He did black operations. He answered directly to Richard Nixon. He is the recipient of 8 Purple Hearts. He served on the Armory board. You can see the oil painting of the C-130, the Arctic C-130. Then we come to Andy Lowe. Andy Lowe flew with Jimmy Stewart in World War II. He started at Rhode Island College and transferred to West Point. Andy's daughter brought in his uniform. We have his bio too. He was a pilot, and there's the book, Jimmy Stewart, Bomber Pilot, and the picture in front is of them in older age. They remained friends through life. Margaret Roger of Westerly served the American Red Cross during World War II. Okay, as we come around here, we have Elliot Thorpe, a Westerly boy. When he was young, 18, he stood in the Palace of Versailles in World War I for the signing of the peace treaty. He was sort of a decoration. But in World War II, he was chief of counterintelligence to Douglas MacArthur. Of course, he rose to the rank of brigadier general, and here he is with MacArthur. He wrote this book. There's a picture of him, East Wind Rain, and we have information about that. It came out in 1969. It was about the attack on Pearl Harbor. We have Medals of Honor. They're unnamed. It's illegal to have them unless you're a museum or you're a recipient. Our fireplace is typical of William Walker Armories. Above the fireplace, you see the troops in front of the armory. That was taken about in 1918. And you'll see that uniform in a minute. This is the World War I area. This is what the officers wore in World War I. Quite striking. A lot of them rode horses because there were fewer vehicles then. And this is what the enlisted wore. And that's what you see in the picture above the fireplace. The stirrups belong to Robert Mitchell of Westerly. He was a cavalryman in World War I. He was later vice president of the Washington Trust Company. You can see some of our World War I artifacts here, including the symbols. Over here, we have a dedication to Korea. They wore olive drab, as you can see. It's Bob St. Germain there. And we have the map of Korea and the plane. The plane is the C-119 flying boxcar. Let me get it there again. Let me get a little closer. We also have the flag representing Korea. And we have a wonderful Fallen Heroes of Korea catalog of those from the Westerly area who served and who died in Korea. Dr. Earl Travis served in Korea. He did not die there, but he was a loyal veteran and wonderful to all of his buddies. He's done wonders in Westerly, creating monuments for them. This is Leon Laporte, 4-star general, graduated the University of Rhode Island, and he represents Southeast Asia. He was commander-in-chief of Southeast Asia until he retired about 10 years ago. Up here, we have the quilt of the 18 historic armories of Rhode Island. There's a book on that as well. And Barbara Barber of Westerly hand-painted each of the armories on cloth, then mounted them onto the quilt. Bob Watts' uniform. Bob, everybody loved Bob. He was in the Army Aviation. We have some weaponry here, which we won't go over right now. There's a uniform of Robert Mudge. He was a coach, athlete, well-known teacher, principal, and his favorite expression was, "Oh, to be a boy again." We move over to Navy Corner. We have a picture of the Nautilus. The Nautilus was actually built mostly by people from Westerly, Pawcatuck area. The chief project engineer was Henry Nardone, graduate of the University of Rhode Island, and he was in charge of that whole mission. We have things in the case here, including the little wooden submarine is carved out of the original teak deck of the Nautilus, and the block of wood right behind there, I don't know if you can see that, is also from the original teak deck of the Nautilus. The other thing for the Nautilus that we need to talk about is this canvas, which was done. The Nautilus was the first vessel to ever go under the North Pole, besides being the very first nuclear-powered vessel in the world. People ask what the mask is. The mask is basically, you put that on and then you put your coat on, and that piece around the neck will keep you warm, and then you put your hat over the top, and you're pretty well sealed for duty if you're, on doing night or day duty and it's freezing. That's a wonderful thing. We do have a piece here from Old Ironsides. It's an original piece of the deck of Old Ironsides, known as the USS Constitution, officially. And then we'll come back here and see the Oerlikon cannon. I'll get back so we can see it here a little. The Oerlikon cannon was made in Woonsocket by Taft Pierce Manufacturing. And this is the ammunition that it used. And the picture on the floor shows a number of Oerlikons aboard ship used for anti-aircraft. The record player obviously is cranked. They used those all during the wars. And wonderful entertainment. If you've seen MASH, you've seen those. Okay, over here we have a sailor. He's just after World War I. And he's Edgar Spencer, Jr. The patch is on the other side then. Today they wear them on the left side. One of the best things we have is this wonderful picture of Admiral Nimitz. It's actually signed by him. It's not a copy of a signed picture. Below it is the signing on the deck of the Missouri for the Japanese surrender. And down here, you can see the colored picture is the Japanese commander signing the surrender. Up here, we have pictures of William R. Walker and his wife, Eliza. He is the architect of this armory, 5 other Rhode Island state armories, and almost all the city and town halls in Rhode Island, including the Westerly Town Hall, the granite one. We have a bookcase. We specialize in military, local, such as Westerly, and Rhode Island books. It's a B-17 Flying Fortress model. I mention that because this is Charlie Utter. He flew B-17 Flying Fortresses, but he and his brother George were editors and publishers of the Westerly Sun for so many years. There's a picture of him, very handsome. This is Colonel Spry. He was commander here at the Army. He's not a local boy, but his daughters gave us that, and that was the first mannequin we made. The mannequin is made of metal and wood except for the head. It was made by a World War II veteran. Then we have the Order of the Cooties here represented. You have to be a VFW member to be a member of the Order of the Cooties. They have a lot of fun, but they make great donations to charities. You can see other things that we have in the window. This case is dedicated to what the Armory was on the left, to the military, because the 169th MP Company was the last unit here. And then on the right side, what the Armory was to the community. And you can see the Easter Monday ball tickets here from 1918, 1919. Those balls ran through the 1950s. The poultry shows, those are the ribbons, they ran through the 1950s. So from 1901, when this armory was built, till the mid-1950s, those poultry shows ran every Thanksgiving weekend. Auto shows did too. And there's 2 booklets from the auto shows. And you can see we have some pictures of the autos in the drill hall. And a picture of the poultry show premium list. This is Chuck Azanara. He was well loved here in the community, obviously, and he served here at the Armory. The cases, by the way, these cases in the front come from McCormick's department store in Westerly, the 2 cases. And then the chairs here around the table are from the Washington Trust Company's 2nd generation board chairs. Over there on the floor is a curling stone. They usually come in pairs. We have one. They did a lot of curling on Burden's Pond here in Westerly.